Why do we vote? We are told that it is our civic duty. We're supposed to vote because it's a celebration of freedom and liberty. We're told that it's a patriotic act. I suppose all of these things are true, but these are not the reasons that people have fought and died to win their right to vote. Suffragettes didn't face down the threat of having their children taken from them simply because they were feeling patriotic. African Americans didn't withstand firebombs and lynching because they wanted to celebrate liberty. Voting is much more than this. If voting is simply a civic duty, then it's a duty that is very easily shirked. Patriotism and celebrating liberty are great and all, but not really sufficient reason to miss work waiting online for hours and hours at a polling place. If voting were only a patriotic gesture, you could be forgiven for not bothering with it. By the same token, if you don't happen to feel very patriotic, then not voting is its own political act. It is a self-defeating one, to be sure, but it is a way that you can register your dissatisfaction with a political system that has left you behind. Non-voting can be a quiet middle finger extended to a greedy and corrupt political class. These reasons for voting are shallow. Voting is power. Voting is a way to take control of our destiny. Voting is the only way people like you and I have to restrain the power of wealth. Voting is the most efficient way to make institutions listen to our demands. It's sometimes possible for these institutions to ignore angry people out in the street. It is much harder to ignore those angry people when they seize the levers of power. We can do that. Voting is economic power. Consider the suffragettes. Women won a great deal more than just the right to vote with the 19th Amendment. Before women got the vote, they could not hold office or serve on juries. They were barred from universities, medical schools, and law schools. Women did not have legal custody of their own children. A married woman's earnings, inheritance, and any other property were all considered her husband's property in the eyes of the law. No one understands the economic power of the vote better than the rich. A look at voting rates among the wealthy class is proof. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the wealthy vote at much higher rates than everyone else. In 2008, 81.6% of Americans making over $150,000 said they voted, the highest of all income brackets. Compare that to 58.2% of Americans who made $40,000 to $50,000, or about 40% for those making less than $15,000. In their study of how wealth influences politics, David Callahan and Jae Mi-jin Cha note that the rich are more likely to take part in every political activity. They vote at higher rates, contribute more to campaigns, are more likely to contact an elected representative, join an organized interest group, work for a political candidate, discuss politics with friends, and so on. We should learn from the rich. It's much easier for them to justify voting because the major parties are much more sensitive to their needs than the needs of the non-rich. The rich vote because they see it makes a material difference in their lives. But there are a lot more of us than there are of them. And if we started voting in our own self-interest, we could make the government more attuned to our needs than theirs. It is not impossible to get the government to listen to us and what we want, even though it might feel that way. We can do it. But first we must get organized. Please give a like, follow, favorite, and subscribe to my free Substack. Let's make them pay.